Hello everyone, welcome to the CADAC training for arts organization. So we offer two types of training session. We do an introduction to CADAC where we see how to access and navigate CADAC for the first time, but also an overview of CADAC support resources. Today in this video, we are going to be doing an experience accelerator. So in this video, we're going to see how to start, submit and revise financial and statistical forms, but also an overview of the reconciliation process. There are also quite a bit of training resources that is available on cadac.ca. So there is user guides, support documents, frequently asked questions, but also training videos. So all this is available on the website. So I just want to show really quick on the website where you can find the training and the resources on the new CADAC. So when you are on cadac.ca, when you are on the main homepage, if you click on training and then training for organizations, there you have access to documents and training videos as well. So this is a great place to go if you have some questions just about the overall working of CADAC and questions about your financial or statistical forms. You will find information in this part of CADAC. So in this video today, we are focusing on financial and statistical forms. So as we just mentioned, we are going to look at how to access the form, but also how do you start one, add data into a form, but also view and add comments, upload supporting materials, and submit a financial form. We're going to be looking at the same thing for statistical forms. Then we will take a look at the reconciliation process and then a summary of changes and improvements. So this video is presented by Context Research Group. So it's a Canadian-based research and consulting firm that is leveraging technology and novel research methods to support our clients' organizational goals. Two things to take into consideration. First, it's a multi-user experience, so the purpose of this session is to demonstrate the features that are available in the new CADAC, but it is not a job-specific training, so you might see some features that do not directly apply to your potential use case, but we do encourage you to remain engaged with the session and just to understand all of the demonstrated features. The other thing to note is that it's a work in progress. So the platform that is demonstrated in this session is a work in progress version. So we are constantly improving and adapting the features. And so we welcome your feedback as part of this continual development process. So now we can take a look at the financial form. So to look at the changes and improvements, so there have been some lines that have been added and some have been removed. Some have been modified as well. We won't go too much into details in this one, but if you go on the website on cadac.ca and you look at the training that is available for organizations, there is a document that is called CADAC Changes to Financial Form. So I really would recommend you to go there and look at this document and you will see all of the detail on those changes. So how do you access financial forms? So once you are logged in and you can see your name on the top right corner, you can just click on organizations. Once you click on organization, you will just find the organization that you want to work on or with. And then you would click on the actions, the drop-down menu, and then from the drop-down menu, you would click on financial and statistical forms. If you need to find like a faster way, you can use the search organizations feature and you can quickly find the organization that you are looking for. So once you click on the financial and statistical forms, the forms are going to be shown in ordered by year. So the status column will indicate what stage of the reconciliation process the form is currently in. So there's three ways we can engage with the financial form. You can click on new, which will start a new financial form submission. You can edit a financial form, which will just open it, and then you can modify and enter the data that you want into the form. And then you can also click on view, which will open a read-only version of an existing financial form. There are several status for the financial form as well. So as we just mentioned, there is a new, so you're just starting working on a new document. You have a draft, so you started working on the form, but you have not completed the form. Submitted, so at this point, the organization has submitted the financial form for review. So the funding agencies might review to confirm that the funding amounts are aligned. There is also under review. So at this point, FDC begins a review of the financial form. And then in this state, the form cannot be edited by the organization. Then you can revise. So that means the FDC have left notes for review and revision on the form. And now it's waiting the organization's feedback. Then it can go into resubmitted. So once the organization has revised and addressed all of the feedback provided, you now can submit the form again for review. And then at this point, it turns into locked. So that means the financial form has been approved and is now locked. So there is no further edits that can be made to the form. So starting a new financial form. So at the top of the document, you can see that there is something called financial form line definition. So if you click on this, you can download a file that will have all of the definitions for all of the lines into the form. So it's a great resource if you have more questions about what each line means and what you're supposed to put in terms of data. You can also see that on one side the data fields are gray and on the other side it's white. So when it is gray, you cannot modify or enter the data. It's really just for you to have the knowledge of the data from the previous year, and then you can enter the data in the year that you have selected where the fields are blank. When you enter data, you're also going to notice that some statistics are being done as you enter the data. And so what is being done is that it's calculating the statistics for the total of assets, for example. So in ours, when we see the line 6275, we see the total of assets is 1,775. And then we see that the current assets, for example, represent 51% of the total of the assets. So it is always being calculated for the total of the column or the section that you are viewing. And it's again just for your information. So there is several ways to enter financial data into the form. What I'm showing right now is how to manually enter data directly into the form on the website, but you can also import data using an Excel template. So once you have added data to your form, you can always click on Save down below. You will then receive a pop-up message that is going to indicate that the record was saved successfully, and then you are able to click on Close. So if you want to go back, you can just navigate back to the list of financial forms by scrolling to the top of the page and clicking on the financial and statistical form, and then you will see now that the status of the form is draft. Now you can click on Edit if you want to continue working on the financial form. Now we can take a look at how to view and add comments. So comments can be added to any line in the financial form, and they can be a useful tool for reminders and additional context. So what you would do is click on the blue envelope next to a line, and then you will be able to add a comment on this financial form line. So once you have clicked on the little blue envelope, there is a comment window that is going to appear where you can enter text. You can adjust the size of the text box by dragging the icon in the bottom right corner of the text box, and then you can enter the note that you have, and what you would do at the end is click on the Save button. So once you have clicked on Save, the CADAC will indicate that the system is loading, but once the loading message disappears, your comment will now be saved, and you can close the windows by clicking on the X in the top right of the comment window. So when the CADAC launches, just as a note, the comment icon could be different. However, there is going to be the same principle or the same system. So a blue envelope means that there is no comment on the line, but you are able to leave a comment if you want to. And then if the envelope turns red, that means someone has left or you have left a comment on this line. So the other thing you can do is upload supporting documents. So at the bottom of a financial form, organizations have the ability to upload supporting attachments. So if the attachments have already been uploaded, they would also be listed here and available for review. But to upload an attachment, you can click on the Create button. So in the Create window, you will have the option to provide the following info for your attachment. So you can put the name of your file. You can also specify the attachment type. So is it an audit, a review engagement, or an unaudited statements? And then you can provide a description of the attachment that you are uploading. And so to attach a file, you would click on the Choose File button, and then you navigate to and select the file that you wish to attach. And then when you are ready to create your attachment, you can click on Submit. Then CADAC will indicate that it is processing the attachment, and then when it's done, you are going to be taken back to the financial form window. Now, once you have done that, you will see that your attachment is listed at the bottom of your financial form. Also, please note that the system can take a few minutes to process your attachment, but once it has been processed, a blue link will appear under your file name, and then you can click on the blue file name to download the uploaded attachment. So something very important is to always click on Save. No matter what you do, just click on Save to be sure that all of your work has been saved, just in case your computer, for example, has some issues. It's a good way to always make sure that you keep a good track of what is done in your document and just not lose anything in case of an issue. So now you have updated your draft financial form. Let's assume that the data is final and you are ready to submit. Then all you would do is click on the Submit button. Once you click on it, you will receive a pop-up message that is going to indicate that you are about to submit your financial form for review. And so if you are ready to upload, then you can click on OK. Once you have clicked on Submit, the form will process your changes. So there's several data validation processes that can take place at this moment. So in our case, let's say that no issue were found during the validation process, then a pop-up message will appear and indicate that the submission was successfully. So you're all good to go. However, if some inconsistencies are found, there is an error message that will pop up to inform you which lines need to be updated. So if that's the case, this is what it would look like. You'd get a message that says, for example, the following fields require data, and it's showing you the line 1515. So when you click OK, it takes you back to the form, and then you will be easily able to see which line needs your attention because it's going to be highlighted in red. So then it's for you to take a look and fix it. So now we can take a look at the statistical form and how they are different but also pretty similar to the financial form. So what I mean by similar is that you access statistical forms the same way that you would access financial. So when you are on the home and then you click on organization and you click on the drop down menu under action, you can then click on financial and statistical forms. So that's where you would see both of the type of forms. So again, you have three things that you can do when looking at the statistical form. You can create a new document for a new year. You can also edit a document. So you've started to work on the form, you started putting data in, but you're not done. So it's a draft, but you can always go back and edit. You can also view a document, so it would be in lecture mode only. Status of statistical forms, you have a lot less than the financial form. Again, you have a new document or a new form, so you just start working on one. Draft, you have started putting data into the form, but you are not done. However, once you are done and you submit the statistical for review, then it turns into submitted. A statistical form line definition is also available at the top of the page, so if you have any questions on what each line requires or is asking for, that's a great resource for you to get some knowledge on each one of the line. Again, if it's a new form, all entries will be blank, and so you are going to be putting all of the information in. However, if you already had a CADAC before, some information is going to be transferring. You just do want to double check that the the information has been transferred correctly. So in the statistical form, statistics are also being calculated, but in this case, it's horizontal. So the percentage are going to be calculated from 1 year over to the year, and the change can be positive or negative. So in our example, when we look at the line 11-12, the number of public performances and literary readings, we can see that, for example, from July 2019 to June 2020, we had 4 of them. And then in July 2020 to June 2021, we had only 1. So it's a drop of 75%. So again, this is just for your information. And the same thing, there is 2 methods to enter data. What I'm showing again in this session is how to enter manually directly into the form on the website, but you can also import data using the Excel template. So once you are done adding your statistical data, first thing again that you would do is click on Save, and then you will receive a pop-up message that indicates the record was saved successfully. Once this is done, you are able to click on Close. Once you click on Close, you can navigate back to the list of the statistical forms by just going on the top and clicking Financial and Statistical Forms. Now that you have worked on a new document, it's going to turn into a the status is now going to be a draft, and then you can click on Edit if you want to continue working on the statistical form. You can also view and add comments into the statistical form, and they work the exact same way as the financial form. So you have the blue envelopes and the red envelopes if a comment is left for you into the line. So let's say you are done entering data into your statistical form. What you would do is scroll down on the bottom of the page and click on Save. And once your data is final and you are ready to submit, you would click on the Submit button that is next to it. Then you will receive a pop-up message that is going to indicate that you are about to submit your statistical form for review. And then if you are ready, then you can click on OK. Again, at this step of the process, there is going to be a reconciliation process. So if any inconsistencies are found, there is an error message that will pop up and inform you which lines need to be updated. However, if no issue were found during the process, then there is a pop-up message that will appear, like shown on the screen, that indicates that the submission was successful. However, same thing, let's say you had a mistake or you forgot to put some data into one field, you are going to be taken back to the form, and it's going to let you know which fields require data. And so once you update that, you are able to resubmit your form. So now we can take a look at the reconciliation process. So now we can look at the workflow for the reconciliation process. So let's say for the financial form, discrepancies were found either with the funding amounts or audit and financial data. Then the stakeholders is the FDC, CADAC, and the funding agencies. Now for the statistical reconciliation, let's say some discrepancy were found between the application or the supporting data and statistical data, then the stakeholder is the funding agencies. So now we can take a look at how to view and add reconciliation notes. So when a reconciliation note has been left for your organization, you will receive a notification by email and within CADAC. So when you have the form open, it will be very easy to identify which fields have a reconciliation note, since there will be an exclamation mark icon next to it. So the exclamation marks can change colors based on the stage of the reconciliation note. So if it is red, it means that there is an unresolved note that is attached to the field. However, if it is green, it means that the reconciliation note attached to the field has been resolved. So this is an overview of the reconciliation note process. So let's say an arts organization submit data. The next thing to do is going to be for the FDC and the funding agencies to review and leave reconciliation notes where necessary. Then the art organizations will review and revise as necessary. And then finally, the FDC and the funding agencies resolve the reconciliation note. So how do you view and add reconciliation notes? So to open a note, you would just click on the exclamation mark in the line that has one. And then in this screenshot, we can see that it is an unresolved reconciliation note because it is red. So the note or inquiry is left by FDC or funding agencies, and then it will appear when you click on the exclamation mark. So when you are ready to respond to the note, you would click on reply. Then a response box will appear where you can type in your response. To change the size of the box, you can again click and drag the icon in the bottom right. You can also see the status of the note, so it is unresolved, but you can also see who left the note and the date and time it was left. So once you have added your reconciliation note, what you can do is just click on the save note, and then once you have done that, the FDC analyst or the funding agency is going to receive a notification. So resolving reconciliation note. So when a reconciliation note has been resolved, the exclamation mark is going to be green. So at the bottom of the form, you are also able to find a summary of all the reconciliation notes. That means that it allows users to easily manage all of the reconciliation notes and keep track of multiple notes at once, and then it is an easier way to see everything that has been done into the form instead of having to go back and click on every single exclamation mark. You can see just at the bottom of the form everything that has been said and the conversation that happened. There's another feature that is handy is the revision history. So as the name indicates, the revision history tracks all of the changes that was made to the form. And so to access the revision history, you would just click on the revision button found at the bottom of a financial form. So this provides all of the following data. So for example, revision number, status of form money was revised, but also the user who made the revision, who submitted it, but also the date that the revisions were made. And so you have a revision history form open. You will notice that there are percentages that are shown underneath the data. So now we can take a quick look at the summary of changes and improvements. So the new CADAC has a new feel. It has an easier navigation and a design that is much simpler. You can now log in using emails. So one user, one email, and you have new terms of use. You also have the ability to keep multiple versions of financial statements, but also communicate via notifications. Donc, for example, notes during reconciliation. And then you have some minor changes that were made to the financial form. You can also complete the statistical form using Excel, so export and re-import functionality, but also CADAC rules have been revised for organization. If you have some question about this, we have in the training session, the other one, the user training, we have a little bit of a discussion on those new rules. Again, as I just mentioned, so we have two types of training sessions. You have the introduction to CADAC. So in this one, we would see the different roles that you can have in CADAC, but it's an overall look at how you access and navigate CADAC for the first time. And then like we just did in this session, it was an experience accelerator. So we just dive a little deeply on the financial and statistical forms. There is also quite a bit of training resources available on CADAC. I really want to insist that if you do have more questions or want to look at things more deeply, on CADAC.ca, you have user guides, support document, frequently asked questions, but also training videos that are available for you to review. Now, if you need help, once you are into CADAC, so CADAC.ca, and let's say you logged in, you are able to click on the need help from your account, but let's say not even logging in, you just go on CADAC.ca. If you need help, you can just click on the need help button on the top field, and then you would scroll down to contact us, and you would be then able to contact CADAC support team, and they will be able to answer your question. So I just want to show really quick on the website where you can find the training and the resources on the new CADAC. So when you are on CADAC.ca, when you are on the main homepage, if you click on training and then training for organizations, There you have access to documents and training videos as well. So this is a great place to go if you have some questions just about the overall working of CADAC and questions about your financial or statistical forms. You will find information in this part of CADAC. So this is the end of the training session. We are very thankful that you took part in this session. And we just want to add that if your organization needs additional support, CRG is available to consult with you to develop a tailored custom training plan to suit your needs. But again, we are very thankful that you took part in this session.